and I don't know what you got accomplished at the last meeting, but we need to be conscious of we need a presentation for the work meeting on the 14th. I think that presentation should show what we're leaning towards in terms of what we want to preserve and how to go about it. And that
this is the PowerPoint that Ryan sent to everybody.
Right, and I have my slides.
And then I kind of added and put it back out to everybody. Yeah.
I don't think I got that.
It's on the email list of everybody.
I was going to let you know, when you sent it out, you sent Steve's original PowerPoint. The old one. At least that's what I got.
Well, this is what I copied today, and I got that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't something new. I just saw the 226 and I thought, well, I didn't get anything on 226.
Well, now, I was thinking we'd take that original one and just modify it.
Well, Steve, look at what Ryan did too, and then
do you want to?
Because
oh, so is this not, you didn't do this one, Tracy? This one's not
the old one.
No,
that, okay, that makes me feel a little better.
That's the one that we've done in 2008.
That makes me feel a lot
This
better.
one?
Because I thought you totally just started from scratch on this one, and then you said, well, I made a couple of changes. I was like, a couple of changes? The whole thing's different than
oh, I wish somebody would have sent something back because I made a mistake and just I attached the wrong one.
Do you have it
okay.
here?
So this is,
Yeah, I think this is.
This was the old one. Yours was more about the tie with tourism. And,
well, in our last meeting, we kind of divided.
This is yours, right?
No.
That's the old one.
That's the old one.
I have it right here. It's my slides.
So in our last meeting, a
Now I'm
couple weeks
really
ago,
confused.
we kind of put together a list of things we'd want to cover on the whiteboard. And then I agreed that I would just throw it on there, onto a slide. Then we'd designate Heidi as one of the owners of that slide, and Tracy would take another one. So basically, it was an empty shell sent out to the group.
So is this the email, like existing public interest, Ryan, future benefit of preserving open space, Heidi, real life example of tax benefit, Justin,
Yeah.
tools and next step, Tracy.
Oh, I didn't see that one then. Well, this is good information nonetheless.
That was just a summary kind of our last meeting. I had that.
And then
That's it.
that's the PowerPoint right there.
Steve, before we dive into all of the slides, should we talk about electing a chair?
Yeah.
Is that
I had
something?
that, I put that last.
Oh,
but-
I'm so sorry.
But we
I'm
can
so
do that
sorry.
now.
I'm always mixing up the agenda, aren't I? We can wait. No worries.
I'm still trying to find this
I'm just glad you
PowerPoint I
brought
sent to everybody. Do you know what date, by chance, I sent it? I'm trying to think. Because
Wasn't it less than
I
a
think
week
it
ago?
was
You can
after
vote,
the
you can
January
vote.
meeting.
Yeah.
I
And
said,
Look for it a
your
week
meeting
ago
on the 8th.
under Ryan.
I received this from Ryan on the 2nd, February 13th.
So Tuesday.
So yours probably was maybe Wednesday, the 14th, or maybe the 15th.
Yeah, you were the fastest one on that.
yeah, well, there you go. It was the wrong one.
Yeah, I don't show nothing until the 8th. So it's gotta be,
We need a projector.
Okay, so Tracy, on the 15th, you sent a follow-up email to mine saying, I've added a few ideas. Ryan did a bunch on his own.
Yeah, that was on the 15th?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that was this one.
Oh, I know what's happening here. I don't
Oh,
have
here it is.
internet. What's
Here.
your internet password to get on? Do you know?
I wouldn't know.
Why don't you
I
just
wouldn't
use
know.
this? It has yours and it has mine. Okay, well, no, it doesn't have yours. It has his and it has mine. We'll just go from there. Because you can add that in, you can download that.
Yeah, you guys, let me know if I make a bonehead move and
You know,
send
I'm
the
so
wrong
sorry.
thing.
It was just so crazy.
I just assumed
I'm so
it was
sorry.
the right one.
So.
I thought you just totally revamped mine.
No, I
So
didn't.
did
I
I.
saved it after I was done, but then
for city council. And WOLB.
A metamorphosis it was.
And why don't you go ahead and save it? It's just a draft, right, for me, because I've got some information here I want to show everybody. Can you save it? No, it's under viewer. Try to right click it, there you go. And open, maybe open with PowerPoint, can you do that? Not the viewer. Do you have
Yeah, I don't
PowerPoint?
think I do on this computer. I
Well, that's
brought the
okay,
other
we
one.
can at least show it to everyone. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, I don't.
And then I'll send it to you in the email. I'm sorry, I should have brought my computer and then we could have done this. Because, Spencer, were you able to find out anything on the bonding costs? Or Ryan, did you find anything more?
You mean about the bonding costs? We already have
Remember
that.
Well, yeah, but that was your part of the slides, is all I'm saying.
I think I was supposed to send somebody contact information for the guy at the Department of Ag. He's the Deputy Commissioner, Scott Erickson. I don't know where I was supposed to send that, so I'm a little fuzzy. but
Oh, let me pull this one.
If there was something else I was supposed to do, I probably would do.
Find your notes.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused. I thought I was supposed to talk to the county attorney was all about
Yeah,
different
you were.
rules. And I tried to get hold of him, I didn't fall through.
Okay, so, here we go.
Well, and Steve has it pulled up too, so we could.
Well, I don't know what I got pulled up.
That's the one I sent out.
That's the one he sent,
Spencer, you were going
and
to
I
contact John
totally
Woodard
Yeah,
to
edited
get an
another version.
analysis of,
get an opinion.
yeah, some kind of opinion on increasing the license fee for the bypass road, or was it an impact fee for the conservation? No, not impact, just a conservation fee analysis.
Yeah, we talked about with the, in what areas we could do that at. That was what I was gonna try and find. And I still will.
So,
That's probably independent of our presentation, though. That's just other things we could do besides the
well,
bonds.
that's what we're going to put in at the end, right? The end was the
One
actual,
of the tools.
One of the tools.
one of the
Tax,
tools.
tax things, and now that Justin was gonna work on tax things, right? Tax benefits.
Yeah, well, the picture's right here.
Yeah, I got that
Thing.
too.
Okay. But that legal analysis, you're right, it would not be part of the PowerPoint, it would be
This picture of
just
the
an
board.
additional.
Mhm. I was
Okay,
trying
you
to
got
find it
that?
real quick.
Oh, okay.
I know I took a picture of it too. What day was that?
Well, I think the first thing we gotta get over here is for the council on the 28th to be able to pass some kind of resolution committing to put it on the ballot for some amount for bonding for open space. I don't know, and I like Tracy's language that she showed on the last one, but I'd like to see us put a range in there and get a commitment from the council that we're gonna put it on. And then this board continue to work to narrow down the range and make a final recommendation. Really, the commitment is just to say whether they're gonna do it or not.
So your idea, Steve, is to get the commitment early and then we work on the details?
And if we don't get the commitment, then it leaves it open for the citizens to do a referendum or a petition to put it on.
Okay.
We don't want to lose all of the options. I don't think the council is going to go backwards on this. I think they'll put it on.
I agree.
So in order to get to that step, it sounds like we're presenting on the 14th to the council.
Mhm.
And maybe we use this slide as a kind of a starting point with some other talking points on there, but ultimately, what the council wants to hear is some dollar amount, right?
Well, I would still like to put a range
Yeah.
and not tie it down.
Okay.
Maybe 5 to 15
Dollar?
or million.
Mil.
And then,
Oh,
No.
sorry.
and this board would continue to work and come back with a final recommendation before it has to go on the ballot.
Sounds like a good pathway.
That strikes me as good.
Because we don't want to try to cover everything in the next, between now and the 28th. Because we've got a lot of work left to do.
So if we get a range approved, and then we work on a final figure over the next 2 to 3 months, were you able to get that okay? So you can show it perhaps? Then does that mean we have to go back to the county council one more time with the final
Oh, yeah.
proposal?
Yeah.
Okay.
To set the final amount.
The final amount.
Well, and I think we need to do that and have the final language for the bond. And that's when we get our bond attorney involved and help us with that.
And this Justin Keys guy, have you met him yet?
I have never met him.
He knows his stuff, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I think
Well,
he'll be great.
We got one of the best bond attorneys in the country living here in the valley, Randy Lorson.
He was,
That's his, that's what he does.
yeah.
Was he the guy that came to the Midway meeting?
And he was an attorney with Ballard Spar, but now he's quit and he joined another firm that just does nothing but public financing and bonding.
Do we have to put out an RFP? Does the county council have to do that? For him to work
For
with
legal
us?
services?
Because I'm assuming if he did the whole thing, he's going to get
Has he
quite a
worked for us in the
chunk.
past recently?
Well, he worked for JSSD. What we probably end up doing is Laura Lewis is our financial advisor.
Okay, we just use
And I would think that she would hire Randy to be the,
Okay.
I
Have ours.
don't think it's a bad idea to shop it around though. I'm
Mhm.
sure there's
and
other
if
people
we
that.
get the go-ahead, that will give us time to do that. And that probably ought to be one of the first to try and determine. I don't know if we have the ability to, as a board to go out for an RFP. It might be the
No.
county council would have to do it.
Mhm.
Request for proposal.
So do you know what company Randy Larson went to?
They created their own company and they don't have.
Oh, it's a private. Okay.
And I can look and see, I think I got his
No, I was
business
just
card.
wondering if you.
But we don't have to use Randy, we could use a number of them.
But to your point, Randy's good.
Loris Lewis, is that her name, Laura Lewis? And Robinson, Lewis and Robertson is our financial advisors.
He's good. I like the way she.
Yeah. And we've also used John Brunson with Zions. But right now, Laura's got the contract.
Takes me back to my old master's days when we had this very discussion on bond council. Why is it cities don't use them all the time? Anyway, I'm just reminiscing.
Yeah, well, I think we need to use them
Mhm.
because they can cover so many hits, shortfallings that we would have.
Mhm.
Well, I was reminiscing too, because in my master's days, Randy Larson was a guest speaker in my public finance class. And I bug him, I'm like, you remember me? No, I don't remember you.
Yeah.
He will now.
He lives up in Greener Hills now.
So is it possible for us to go through anything that anybody's done on the slide presentation so far to see if
I
it's
think-
good or not?
I think we need to do that.
Is there
Can I
anything
ask one more
else?
question before you
Yes.
move off the line? Have you and Celeste talked at all about sharing some of the costs? Because there's a possibility that the Midway group will
We haven't.
move forward. That might be a third option.
Yeah.
That would be,
Yeah, that might be.
you know, whether it's
true.
this year or next year, another time. But I'm chair of that committee for
Yeah.
Midway, and I know they spent a lot of time talking about it. We might as well be
It
sharing
scares me, Cortland, truthfully, to go after two bonds the same
Oh, yeah.
year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Oh, I
for
know
the
that.
same purpose.
Yeah.
True.
Because I'm afraid the Midway people will say, we're not gonna vote for your bond, we want our own bond. And then we're gonna have some people say, we're not gonna vote for either of them because,
Right? Yeah, I think that's a legitimate concern. I'm back a couple of steps wondering that,
you know.
you know, if
And I don't know, I attended your meeting last month and then listened to them. I don't know if you're ready. You're a long ways off there because they're still want to do public workshops and identify. And I think, and maybe I'm wrong, Tracy, I think we're past that stage.
Oh, yes.
We've done a lot of work in 3 years and
Yeah. And
groundwork, you know, that takes time and
I don't think we come up with a different answer, frankly.
but I think I mean, in my view, the 5 million's more of just a county bond. If we go for a 10 million or 15, I don't know. That's, you know, I think a portion of that money could be going over to Midway to make them happy. And
Well, the way we've got it written up in the MOU is if any entity has got an open space board,
Right.
and they were using similar criteria to what we're using, and they got a map and identified properties that fits in that category, they can apply for their portion of this bond. Like if Midway is 14% of the total county tax base, 14% of the 10 million or 5 million is earmarked for the Midway. The same with Heber City.
And so that's how it would break out of the money?
Yeah, based on their percent.
Okay.
Percent of population or
Tax base.
tax base, okay.
Yeah. Because I think it has to be tax base.
Yeah, to make it an equal playing ground.
Yeah, because we got such a large population in Heber City in apartments and different things. So taxable value is probably the key factor.
Well, that's how the bond is being based on taxable value too. That's how we're collecting it. So they'd be paying it.
See, I think Midway should pay more. I'm just
They actually probably do, because their tax base is higher per capita than, so they actually will pay more.
So that'll say that in the bond. So to me, it should be more than 5 million because we're looking to break out this money to be earmarked for,
Well,
I mean,
we could ask for any number,
right.
and then come back and say, we want the ability to bond up to this amount, and then come back and say, well, the first element would be 5 million. And then once we see some success, and I think it would be easier to move forward.
But still, we want to identify that range today, right? Is that still 5 to 10 or?
Well, that's something we need to decide. I think the one I seen was 5 to 15, wasn't it?
Oh, I just threw out 5 to 10,
Maybe,
but like, you know, if we could get something to where it's agreed upon, you know, a total amount and then in 3 different increments as we need it or whatever the case, showing the matching funds, showing the grant money, you know, that we're leveraging it, you know, I do agree that
and
it should be
maybe
easier
that's
to
how
get the next
maybe
portion.
that's how we propose it. We propose a bond up to $15 million in 5 million increments.
Yeah, I like that.
Seems clean.
It gives arguments and people can see a clean split
Yeah.
rather than the vagary of either money that they don't know and then some good strong statements which you had in the one about leveraging our money and stretching our money, and you know, that's where I think we're going to sell this.
And then
Feels
if
to
we
me like-
show the public the criteria
Yeah.
that they have to meet to get any of this money, that it's not an outright purchase, that
No.
is the last
Right.
resort.
And that's something this board needs to come up with.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was just asking about Midway, because if, as Steve said, we're getting a sense of ourselves, and we've got new leadership, and a lot of ideas are floating around, and if they were to pay a little bit of some of the costs of this, then down the road, they may feel as though they own it. And if subsequent to this, we would want to
Well,
do just
they wanna
something at
pay-
Midway, then we've already done the homework on it, kind of like your,
If they want to pay some of the costs, I have no problem paying costs.
I don't think it's a bad thing to
It's
ask.
just,
That's
But
why I
isn't it
was
just
kind
gonna
of
come
bringing it
out
up.
of- Isn't that just going to come out of the bond proceeds?
well, maybe not all of it. There's going to be some.
There's
upfront-
always upfront.
There's some upfront cost we may have to
Okay, I
recognize.
got you.
And for the attorney.
Mhm. I'd like to be able to tell my committee, we want to own part of this. we're in for this.
And if that would get them off doing their own thing, it would help her to start out with.
And they can do their own thing next year if this is successful or not.
Yeah.
It would be better, like Steve said, probably would be better for chance for this to be successful if they didn't do it this year.
Mhm.
But I'm afraid down the road, we're looking at another school pond.
Yeah.
If not next year, year after,
For elementary school?
for the whole thing. Elementary and high school. But that's
Down the road.
down the road.
Well, I like this, the way you've laid this out, Steve. I think that's a good idea.
I've quit having kids, so don't look at me. It's my fault.
I had told her, I wanted to this problem.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I only have 2
Heidi.
in high school right now, okay? Mine are already through. I'm just saying that I'm just boggled at that, but I
Just
can
don't
tell
look at
you.
me. I have 3 in the public school system.
Yeah, see,
I've
that's,
got
got 4, so I'm
I've got quite a number of grandkids in the public school system,
I know,
so.
but I'm just, I mean, I don't want
But-
to discuss the school district, please.
I really don't.
But,
I'm laughing with you, not at you.
No, I'm just.
I would like to have this presentation on the 14th, pretty well precise and to the point.
That's the work meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then the next meeting is not till the 28th.
Right.
We're gonna skip a week because some of us are gonna be gone
So we need a council resolution then.
for the 28th.
Shouldn't we have that also ready though for the 14th?
We could have it the 14th, a rough draft, and maybe have the county attorney put it into a,
Yeah, I
What do you
mean,
mean?
he's gonna be
He's
the
gonna
one that
have-
does
he's gonna have
it,
to
Yeah.
approve it before.
yeah.
so he
But
can
we
have
do-
it ready for the
no,
20th.
Yeah.
You're right on this one, based on Danny's
14th.
ordinance. Any ordinance like this would have to go through a work meeting first.
So we need to have it
So the
ready for
14th.
The actual
Yeah,
ordinance.
yeah.
The 28th, we may have to go to the public, the resolution will be on a public hearing then, right? On the 28th? Would it be on the 6 o'clock agenda or the 4 o'clock?
Well, this is not.
Public
titled-
hearing,
I
6
don't-
o'clock.
I don't think, well, this is not Title
16?
16.
Okay.
Well, and this is just to put it on the ballot too. This
Yeah.
is not to pass it.
Okay, so 4 o'clock for both.
I don't think we'd have to have a public hearing on it.
There are public hearing meetings on the 20th, on that. There are meetings
It's
on that.
interesting, but why not have one? Maybe we should have one when we come back. If we get this approved, we should come back in the summer, once, we're
Well, I
ready for
think
that
I think
final
when we-
range, final number. That would probably be an excellent time to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do public outreach a bunch.
Yes.
We're talking more about what's required with passing the ordinance of the,
Yeah, I think your public meetings or your town hall meetings are better than having a public hearing during
Yeah, I
this
mean-
meeting. You don't get as much people to talk.
we can tell
about
people
it.
we're gonna discuss it and they can come and listen. I mean, it's an open public meeting. They're more than welcome
Having a
to
less
come.
formal meeting, I guess, is where you have more of your public comment.
I think once we serve notice that we're gonna put it on the ballot, then we have these individual public meetings. We'll get a lot of interest.
Senior citizens, center.
Yeah.
Well, so who's going to then write the council resolution and give it to the county attorney? What is it we need in that?
I think we take what Tracy had and.
Yeah, I mean,
you
that
still
was
have
Just the
that.
bonding
Yeah,
language, then.
that
That's
was-
the only thing.
Yeah.
Don't we need a
And
bunch of
just have
whereas
him-
this and
just put
whereas,
it-
whereas?
Put in the county's format, resolution format.
We need some whereases.
Mhm.
When it came to passes,
I can come up with some whereases.
do we have a template from the previous resolution that we could just kind of plug and play?
That's what I did.
Okay.
That's what I sent in the email, was just one that was already done.
Awesome.
And, and then we can change it with the tiered system, and
So that shouldn't be too hard then?
there should probably be a time range on that 15 million, shouldn't there? To be, I mean,
Spend it over a 5-year period.
forever. I mean, there should be maybe, up to 20 years. or-
Yeah. so
I mean, something,
A sunset date to it.
Well,
And I I
So
don't-
that gets us on the, I mean,
I
because
think-
if we don't have this figured out in 20 years, it's gonna be too late anyway.
I think if we went 10 years, 5 to 15 million in 5 million increments, up to 10 years,
Up to 15.
up to 15.
I'm thinking 5 every 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Spread it out a little bit.
But give us a little more time than 10. 10's, I think,
Okay, we're
Yeah.
15.
pushing it.
Right.
I'd say
Right.
20, but.
Are there any unintended consequences of doing something like this? So, for example, does it drive land values up for those that don't opt in and they want to hurry and flip it while they can before the money takes over during this 15-year period? I'm just trying to think outside of the box. Like, are we
Well-
risking pushing development as a result of trying to preserve open space?
Not if the zoning doesn't change.
I don't think
That's
so.
true.
Okay, just.
I think it'll increase the value
I
of those
think-
grounds
I
because
think
you'll have an
this-
extra funding source to buy it.
I think this will take the pressure off the push for zoning changes.
Yeah. Does it drive the land value up that much, though?
I don't think
Is
that much
$5
because we're just
million
buying
today?
development rights. We're not buying the land.
Right.
Okay.
And there's appraisers just
But it will a little bit, I
for
would
this.
think. Wouldn't it?
Not any appraiser deals with conservation easements
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, so they look at that too. And the IRS is really leery about that. They won't go for things, you know, increasing in value out of the norm, then they're not gonna come on board, so it's kind of like it, you know.
Well, just wanted to clarify and make sure.
Well, we all have to be on the same page. I mean, every public entity in the county has to be on the same page here as far as rezoning and upzoning property, because if,
Well, we're just shooting each other in the foot and shooting this.
yeah, I mean,
Committee
it's
in the
just
foot
gonna
if we
undo
don't.
everything we're trying to do here, and so that's the real issue.
Steve, we talked a little bit about this last time, but do we make a play for some of that 40 acres that's zoned commercial on the corner of River Road and 40? You know, I know the density's granted and the cost is gonna be
It's more than a
extremely
bond
high.
amount right there,
Well,
unless there's something happens with that.
Brian, there is a way, if it's annexed into the city or if it stays in the county, there is a way to legally downzone that density where the developers can't sue you.
Okay.
You
It's not a
do it in
slam dunk yet
increments.
either, is
You do
it,
in
Steve?
increments. You can't
No.
downzone it to back the way it was.
And right now,
I think you
there's
could if you're ready for it.
discussion about moving the density from that spot to another spot in the Jordan Basin.
Oh.
So hopefully if somebody was to step in and buy that, now, right now it's defunct,
Yeah.
so you're gonna have to have another investor come in and buy that property.
40 acres.
Yeah, and in talking with some people, they're talking about going to Sorenson or Extel and seeing if they'd move the density off that site.
To the other places.
I just, this is what I would hate to see. We, you know, make this big push, we bond for 15 million bucks or whatever it is, and we're happy and we're celebrating, and then suddenly this high density goes up right there, the first thing you see, and everybody's gonna say, what the heck happened? I don't think the public is aware that that's zoned for what it's zoned.
Well, maybe what we can do when we go to the county council is talk to them about putting in some language for future development.